Vientos hit that 2-run home. So I was sitting on the couch. Vientos hits the 2-run home run, and I like melted down to the floor and was on my knees, looking like I was praying to God. Like, how does this keep happening? What the fuck is going on in the universe?
Philly pride and Sistad soul, Andrew rapping NYR. Together they talk sports and dreams, right behind the scenes. It seems Philly versus NY, who the call, who's the greatest, who will fall with this rivalry. Loud and clear, join the chat. It's time to cheer. Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew, Sistad, Brad unite. Philly NY in the spotlight.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 9. A lot to get to today. We're recording about a half hour after the Phillies won game 2 to seemingly save their season. An awesome game. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Yankees up 1-0 in the series. We're going to talk about the Jets losing to the Vikings. We'll get to the Giants win in Seattle without Malik Neighbors. We're going to preview the Rangers and Flyers seasons, which both start this week. And then, of course, we're going to do the 2 weekly segments. We're going to mock New York fans on Twitter, and we'll get to subscriber questions as well. So let's start off. You're in your Phillies jersey, dude. Huge win. Before we talk about the game and the crazy game back and forth, there's something. Okay, so I'm watching this game, and I know you're a little bit behind. You're dealing with your kids, so you told me before the game started that you're going to be behind. So I'm trying to gauge. I'm thinking like, oh man, I wish he was watching live. I want to gauge what he's thinking right now. He's not texting me. And it's like when they win, I'm like, man, like when is he going to get there?
Yeah.
I'm just like waiting for you to get there because I'm thinking like, I wonder where he's at this point in the game. He's probably like thinking that the season's over right now, and like while they're like celebrating on the field. So just kind of a funny.
Yeah, it's funny situation. So I wasn't that far behind. I was able to watch. I watched probably like the first 5 innings in real time, and then then it's dinner, bedtime. So that takes up a while. But I was able to catch up, and I wasn't too far behind. So pretty crazy game. One of the crazier
How are you
games I can remember.
Take me through your situation here, though. Take me through your situation. So obviously 6th inning. And I'm going to tell you what I was thinking as well during this. 6th inning, 2 outs, bottom 6. They're down 3-0, right? 3-0, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking at that point, Trey Turner's up, 2 outs, no one on. Sevey's going to get through the 6th. And then I'm thinking in my mind, okay, so he's at 75 pitches. Say he gets to 80 at the end of the inning. He comes back out, gets through the 7th, and then they go to Edwin for 6 outs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, well, before we get into what happened, at that point in the game, how were you feeling? What were you thinking? Were you optimistic? Were you hopeful? Or you were just, this is over?
I was not optimistic at all. Towards the end of the game, my optimism did grow, and I'll tell you why. But yeah, I mean the first 15 innings of this series, the lineup looked completely lost.
Yeah, they got the Schwarber leadoff homer in game 1, and then pretty much nothing.
Yeah, nothing. They were just, the at-bats were just not competitive, just swinging at junk pitches way outside the zone, like everybody. It seemed like everybody was going up to the plate with no plan and just looking to hit the ball 500 feet. And you juxtapose that with the Mets, who are like doing all of the right little things at the plate, which like you love to see if it's your team. It sucks when they're peppering all the singles against your team. But yeah, they scored 6 runs yesterday, all singles. And you have the Phillies over here just swinging for the fences every time. So yeah, up until that point, and even this game started off the same way. The annoying thing about yesterday's game was that today, I thought Severino was pretty damn good today. I was pretty impressed with the way that he pitched. So the fact that they weren't really looking that good against him was a little more understandable. I mean, yesterday was very unimpressed by the Mets pitching staff. It was essentially a bullpen game. And
yeah, it was. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And
I guess it depends how you look at it,
Right.
because they use 2 starting pitchers. David Peterson piggybacked Senga, but yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Right. You know what I mean. But yeah, just the at bats were so uninspiring yesterday, and they didn't even like threaten at all. Like I think they might have had a guy in scoring position like once or twice up until the ninth inning. But a little bit more of the same today. I think that they did threaten a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, obviously they tie the game. Turner gets on base, Harper hits a home run, and then Castellanos backs him up. From there, it just got even crazier somehow.
Wild. I mean, I was actually, I was talking. One of my friends was missing, and I was trying to catch him up and like what happened. And as I'm going through, and I'm realizing, this is even wilder than I thought. I was just like, yeah, it was 3-0. Trey singled, Bryce homered, Casty homered. And I was like, then Nimmo homered, and then the Phillies scored 2 runs in the 8th off Edwin, and then 3 runs in the 8th, and then Vientos hit a 2-run homer. It was like crazy.
Just wild. What did you think of the move to put Diaz in the 7th?
Oh, let's talk about a lot about moves. First off, I'd say the move to put Diaz in, I was 100% for it. I also thought the broadcast, they were talking about 2 things I disagreed with about the broadcast. They were talking about, is he going to be able to go through? Like, are they expecting 7 outs from him? Like, watch the pitch count. I think a couple of things. One is I think it was pretty clear to me that the Mets were planning to go the rest of the way with Edwin, based on how they utilize him down the stretch of the season. But either way, like, why are we worrying about the 9th inning in a 1-run game in the 7th inning? Like, why?
With the top of the order coming up.
Yeah. Like, why are we even talking about this right now? Why are you not talking about the present inning? That's what I was thinking. Like, you guys are way ahead of yourself, and it ended up not mattering because he didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do. To answer your question, dude, I do think that it was a good decision. I think at that point in this game, 1-run game, top of the lineup, runner was on first.
Mm-hmm.
Runner was on right.
Mm-hmm.
At that point in the game, that's high leverage. You don't know what's going to happen the rest of the game. You don't know if he gets out of that. Maybe the Mets break the game open. Yeah, I'm all for going either your best pitcher in that situation. It didn't work out for them.
Yeah, I was. If I was a Mets fan, I would be okay with the decision.
It didn't work out on the 8th, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you're a Mets fan, you should be okay with the decision. I mean, you have all those people who think the closer comes in the 9th inning, like no matter what, which is obviously,
I think even most traditional fans are past that, though. Do you hear that a lot? Like people.
I didn't hear a lot of that today, but I'll tell you what I heard. Not that much, but I would say I heard it enough to the point where I have to bring it up. Speaking of just like traditional fans.
Okay.
I heard some people saying that they should have kept Wheeler in the game yesterday for the 8th inning. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
He was at like what?
He was at 111 pitches.
Yeah. I see. Yeah.
And they weren't like, they were pretty stressful. Like he was not. He was allowing guys on base.
Were you hearing that after the fact?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
That's what we do as fans. I'm not even going to criticize fans for saying that. This is what we do. When we're frustrated by the result, we blame the decision. I mean, we all do it. I mean, I probably don't do it as much as most, but that's what fans do.
I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's just you go to your 2 high leverage closers who've been great all season, and they didn't have it.
Dude, the Mets have. I've been calling this Magic Mets. They have some magic going. It's crazy. These late game rallies,
unbelievable, man. It's like, it's terrifying. Which is why I didn't really feel I didn't feel great after the Stott triple. And
I don't blame you.
The JT at bat, yeah, because they did it again.
I was telling one of my Mets fans friends when the Phillies took the 2-run lead. I was like, this isn't over, right? Like, the Mets have rallied way too many times in the last couple of weeks, late in games, to count them out. And then Vientos hit a 2-run homer. 2 homers by Vientos, by the way.
And a double.
Awesome start to the series.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, this
killing the
guy's
Phillies. They're gonna hate.
this
They're
guy.
gonna hate Mark Vientos.
I already hate him. Really, really fucking hate Nimmo too. That guy's just always been a Philly killer. Does that stupid run to first base when he draws a walk, but I'll never get over that. Yeah, I mean, the reason, so I felt more optimistic even when Nimmo hit that home run to put them up 4-3. I still was feeling at least like they had a chance. I mean, I always text you, it's over.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
but even if I felt optimistic just because they started to put at bats together, and they were putting the ball in play a little bit more, and they weren't chasing. Even the man, I thought that it was in the, I guess it was the seventh where Diaz struck out Schwarber. It was a full
Yeah.
count, and he tried to hold the swing.
Questionable.
Even that was
Questionable, by the way.
questionable, yeah. But
Yeah.
but even then, I was like, all right, at least they're making them work for it. They're fouling pitches off. They're putting the ball in play. So like they have a chance here. It ended up working out. So I've obviously never said a bad thing about Nick Castellanos to you ever. You know, he's always been one of my favorite Phillies, and you know, he came through.
He was.
You know, I'm totally joking because he's probably
I know
the
you're
guy
joking.
that I've okay.
I know you're joking.
Yeah,
And I'm just because
well, you didn't
he was-
laugh.
well, because I was I was thinking actually I was thinking about a couple different jokes were running through my mind and I couldn't decide which one to go with.
Got to be quicker on your feet.
That's
man.
where you saw. I know I got to be quicker. Got to be quicker. It's all right. I'll edit it out and then I'll
Oh, there
do
you
a
go.
voiceover with a joke. Yeah,
There you
I'll
go.
do a
Good, good. But
So-
even like this, even yesterday and earlier in today's game, like same old story with him. He's just first pitch, garbage, nowhere near the plate, and he swings right through. Dude, he swings through
Yeah.
to the point where Jenna is sitting on the couch behind me saying, like, this guy swings at everything. I'm
Hold on
like,
a second.
I know.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
This is like the second time you recently have mentioned this. This Jen is sitting on the couch behind you. I'm trying to envision this. So what's going on here? You got the TV. You got, let's just say, 6 feet away. You got the couch, and then what are you like standing in front of the TV, like in like a little chair, like right in front of the TV? Because you're looking back at her on the couch, so you have to be like, yeah.
So in this instance, when Vientos hit that 2-run home, so I was sitting on the couch. Vientos hits the 2-run home run, and I like melted down to the floor and like was on my knees, like looking like I was praying to God, like, how does this keep happening? What the fuck is going on in the universe? And she was on the couch behind me, like we were sitting on the same couch. And after I fell to the floor, I spent the rest of the game just sitting on the floor. And yeah, actually, in the at bat that he hit the walk off, he swung at the first pitch, and it was a horrible pitch. And that's when she was like, "Man, this guy just swings at everything." I was like, "I know." And then, you know, never a doubt, right? And then never.
At what point did you get up? At what point were you from sitting on the floor to like? Is it from a sit to like a just jump up in excitement, or is it when they have guys on base in the bottom of the ninth, you're standing now?
No, it depends. This particular instance was so. I mean, I was still sitting for this. Most of the time, I'll pace back and forth, especially like. It's so funny, like playoff baseball is so intense, and like I feel like the time between pitches just like feels like an eternity. So like you almost have to pace half the time. But this particular instance, I was just sitting there because I wasn't even like, even right now, like tomorrow I'll be happy that the series is tied, but I just felt like relief. Like I didn't really jump up and start pumping my fist. I just kind of like took a deep breath, sighed a big exhale, and pretty much texted you right away saying,
"Oh, I'm done.
Let's go."
Let's record. Yeah. All right.
Which is not typical. The weight of this game, because I mean, if they lose that game, then
Season.
the way that they lost it with all the back and forth, and
the weight was really
heavy.
I was really rooting for the Phillies in this game. because I didn't
Thank
want to
you.
come on here and you be so angry and just the whole episode talk about, because what would happen is it wouldn't just be you're upset about the Phillies. It'd be everything would be the end of the
Everything.
world.
Oh my
Everything we
god.
talked
Oh
about.
my god. Yes. Yeah, not a good weekend. Yeah, you got the Giants, the Redskins, the Cowboys are probably going to win.
Commanders.
Commanders, right? Yeah, it would have been a nightmare. So,
All right, let's talk about staying with the Mets Philly series.
mhm.
Let's talk about a couple of the decisions. I would call it managerial and general manager.
Okay.
General front office and manager decisions.
Okay.
Starting with Christopher Sanchez in game 2 over Nola. Now, I believe I texted you about this when I saw that it came out that it was announced they were going Sanchez in game 2.
Mhm.
My initial thought was they wanted to break up the righty-lefty starters, give it a different look. It makes it a little bit more challenging. Nola and Wheeler have very similar repertoires. A buddy of mine texted me about Chris Sanchez's home road splits this year, which were really dramatic.
Yes.
What's your take on the decision? Why do you think? What have you been seeing, and why do you believe they did that? I mean, it worked out. Sanchez pitched really well, but I just want to kind of dive into a little bit about why they would go Sanchez game 2, when I think almost everyone would agree that Nola has the better stuff.
Yeah, I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, Sanchez's home road splits are very, very different. He's excellent at home, not so good on the road, and
But that was this year only. That was this year that's why. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah,
Keep
no,
going.
I just think I think that that's the bulk of it, and I think that Citi Field is going to be a buzzsaw on Wednesday. I think it's going to be super loud, going to be really intimidating place to pitch. So, for all of the ups and downs that Nola brings, Nola's been really good in the playoffs these past 2 years, and he's been really good on the road. He doesn't really seem to get phased by the crowd. So I just think the experience, this is really, I mean, I know Sanchez had a start last year, but he wasn't who he is this year with all-star selection.
For sure.
I don't think he has the pressure to perform on him like he does this year. So yeah, I just think the experience of Nola in big time games plus the home road splits, I was totally on board with it. Totally fine.
You were. Okay.
Yeah.
I think two things. One, I don't know this, but I feel like the Phillies probably didn't make the decision based on the home road splits. I think if you look in look at the context and dive into it, you realize that it's just more random and fluky. Like, I can give you that information. Like, basically, it was one really bad road start that made the numbers look bad, and then in previous years, his home splits were about the same, even better on the road actually. But I definitely think there's a lot of validity too, and I do believe that your second point or your first point, I don't know which order you did it in, but yeah, they probably trust Nola on the road at Citi Field making that start rather than Sanchez being in that situation. I think there's probably a lot of validity to that. I think that probably went into it. I also do think it makes sense to break up the Wheeler and Nola just from a repertoire, just mix it up, make it a little bit tougher on the Mets lineup to adjust between games. I think that's a big. But yeah, he was, speaking of his splits this year, Sanchez had a 2.21 ERA at home and a 5.02 ERA on the road. That is pretty drastic. But he had a meltdown start in Arizona on the road, which is I think what makes those numbers a lot worse. In 2023, a 3.93 ERA at home, 2.08 ERA on the road. So I don't think it's something that, I think that's more like fluky random, but I definitely think that if I'm making this decision, I trust Nola a lot more to make that road start. So I think that's a good point.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's the right move. I think it's the right call.
The other one was this, I really was surprised by. Game 2, third baseman, Sosa over Bohm. Now, Bohm has been struggling recently, big time. I would say struggling is an understatement. He's been terrible for a couple weeks now, about a month. When you, well, first of all, you saw this, I'm assuming, before the game started, right? A few hours before. What were your thoughts before the game?
Yeah, I guess I was kind of indifferent about it, just because Bohm's been really bad, and I love Edmundo Sosa, man. I feel very confident in him. He's made some big hits for them. He plays a good third base, so I was okay with it. I don't know how Bohm feels about it, which is kind of the bigger concern for me at this point. And then I don't know if how closely
What do
you
you
were paying
mean?
attention. I just think
Why?
it's
Why
I
you're worried about how he's gonna like handle it mentally? Like how he's gonna bounce?
yeah I
Like is
think
he gonna
yeah
sulk or
I
confident?
think that's a pretty big blow to your confidence for sure. I mean, it's game two. It's at home. It's a must win game. And you get benched for the backup. So hopefully it's not a big deal. But he came in to pinch hit at some point and just horrible. Swung
Yeah,
at
I
the
know. But
first
pinch
pitch, which
hitting's
was
really
just a
hard,
bad.
dude.
I know,
Pinch hitting's really
but
hard.
same thing. Swung at the first
Yeah.
pitch that was a bad pitch, and like he just had no chance. So again,
Yeah, I see what you're
take a
saying. I
couple
mean,
pitches, man.
I, it could also, it could have no impact either way. It could have a negative impact on his psyche. It could also give him a boost.
Maybe,
Some
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you got
I
to do
was,
what you believe as a team, an organization that's going to put your team in best position to win. Now, I'm not saying that Sosa necessarily does that. I was surprised by the decision. The Philly, I give them credit though. This is something that I don't think the Yankees would be doing.
yeah,
I give them credit.
I give them credit too. I was also surprised by it, but I didn't hate it, didn't really question it, but it was certainly surprising.
Yeah, it was surprising. All right. Game 3, they have a day off. Game 3 on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Did the teams announce their starters yet? I haven't even seen that. I'm assuming it's range. I mean, it's Nola versus
It'll be Nola versus
who's pitching for the
Quintana.
Mets?
No,
Is it Quintana? I haven't
should
seen
be.
this.
I haven't seen it either, but should be.
They
Right.
were
When was the
being
last time he pitched? Must have been Tuesday,
it was
Tuesday or Wednesday.
it was the second game 3 against the Brewers.
Oh, game three.
That was Thursday.
Okay, Manea.
See if it's out yet. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's been their best starting pitcher most of the season.
Weird times, man. These times suck for this series.
But yeah, they are interesting times. So 4:00 on a Sunday
5:08?
for you, but 5:08 on a Tuesday.
Yeah,
Like,
the hell?
most people are not home from work yet.
I know.
What are you gonna be doing? Are you gonna be watching those delayed?
Yeah. I'll have to watch those delayed, man. When I get home from work around 5:30, and it is utter chaos until 7. So it won't even be worth trying to watch. I do the routine, and then I'll sit down probably a little bit after 7 and just watch it from there.
And you're able to watch it much quicker with just skipping the commercials, right?
Yeah.
Do you
Much
skip any
quicker.
like time in between at bats or no?
Not really, unless the game is kind of getting out of hand, and it's not
Will you
quite
skip like a
as intense.
challenge? Well,
Yeah.
like a replay, you'll skip that,
For the most part, yeah.
or like an injury and like they're
Right.
checking out the
Right.
player. So you can skip that
Exactly.
stuff.
Yep.
I don't do that. I'm interested in what our listeners and viewers do because I think you know this. I'm against recording and watching live sports after the fact.
So I was like that too, man. But again, it's just not even worth trying. Believe me, I've tried, and it's just not. It's not worth
I
it.
know, I get that. I'm not saying that I would just watch it live no matter what. I get it. Things come up. You have
Yeah.
kids. You have a lot going on. I'm saying that I probably just wouldn't watch it. I'd probably just be checking the score, following the
right,
score, and
right.
then just look at the highlights.
Yeah.
Watch the highlights.
Yeah.
But
So
to me, it would
even,
ruin
even
the.
no, I think it's no. You get used to it, I think. But even today, so like today, I was the game started at 4, obviously, and baseball is a little bit easier to be able to kind of multitask with a little bit, just because
For sure.
you have some time in between pitches and pitching changes and stuff. So at one point of the game, I was playing Lincoln Logs with Ryan, like as I was watching the game. So we were building a nice little log cabin.
Yeah.
As as Sanchez is
You were
painting
building
the
the
outside
Phillies.
corner with his change.
You were building the Phillies bullpen, and did you put a bullpen phone in there?
Yeah, we wired one up. We wired one up. We made the call, to Strom, and he blew it.
Yeah, but those times are inconvenient for fans, and Phillies fans and Met fans kind of get screwed there because the Dodgers and Padres games are going to be later, obviously in the West Coast, and the Yankees are prime time attraction. So that's that.
Yeah, yeah. There's not much else you could do.
I would gladly switch. I know. I mean, I would
I
love for
know,
the
right?
Yankees to be playing at 5 o'clock.
I
That'd
know.
be great.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder what would be a bigger draw. I mean, obviously the Yankees are the biggest brand in the sport, but I think Phillies, Mets, two huge markets.
It's a better series by far.
Division rivalry, right? And nobody cares about Kansas City, right? So,
Speaking of the Mets Phillies, one thing I want to talk about. So we started the Fanatics and Analytics New York Philly podcast, a podcast that, as all you know, is based on New York and Philadelphia sports. And then a month and a half later, the Phillies and Mets play each other in the postseason for the first time.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, New York, Philadelphia. But this isn't the real New York, Philadelphia matchup we want.
It's not.
Long way to
Maybe
go.
we'll get it. Yeah, maybe we'll get it, but
One thing at a time.
One
Okay,
thing at a
so
time. Yep.
let's move on to the Yankees and Royals. So we were just talking about the times kind of being strange, wacky times. The ALDS, both ALDS series, the schedule is just nuts. So you get game 1, day off without traveling, and then you get a game 2, day off. Game 3, game 4, day off. Game 5. So it allows for the organizations to construct their division series roster much differently than if you were playing a normal game 1, 2, day off, game 3, game 4, day off, game 5. So Yankees played game 1 yesterday also. They won. They did not play
No
today, and they
surprise
played
there.
tomorrow for game 2. Well, dude, did you watch that game?
I watched some of it. I watched when they drew a bases loaded walk to tie the game, and
Which
said,
one?
Yeah, I heard about that one the next day. No, I do this thing, man, where if my team loses like a really infuriating game, I kind of have to turn sports off for the rest of the day.
I kind of understand that.
Yeah,
I kind of understand that. I wish you watched it for the podcast though, but I do understand.
Yeah. I watched something else. I watched a TV show instead.
What show?
I watched Chimp Crazy. Did you see that on HBO?
Never heard about it.
Oh, dude, it's this documentary. It's pretty wild, but it's a documentary about this lady who like loves chimps, like chimpanzees, and it's from the people who made Tiger King. You ever saw that a couple of years back?
I never watched it because it was a fad, and I stay away from fads.
So it's from the people who made that, and it's fucking bananas. No pun intended.
All right, I'm probably not going to check it out.
All right,
but we'll see.
Okay, fair enough. If the Yankees lose a game and you need something to watch that's not sports, then check it out.
So yeah, okay, I'll keep. Oh yeah, I'll do that. When the Yankees lose a game, well, I do the same thing I do when they win a game. Last night, I go get myself a joint, get myself my joint, go on the front porch, light it up, and just relax. Win or lose, you can't just do it after a loss, because then that's kind of bordering on a problem. Like if you rely on weed to like help you like get over being upset, but if you do it after a win and a loss, then it's just kind of your cool down process. What do you think?
It's the celebratory joint versus the depressing joint. Yeah,
For me, it's a cool down joint no matter what. No matter what, it's just I'm so hyped during these postseason games. I also drink coffee like right before they start, and then I need to cool down, or otherwise I need to go to sleep. So
yeah. So I only do the celebratory. Like if the team loses, I'm just done. I'm just like I don't want to do anything.
You do a celebratory shot, a little.
No beer or something. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's like if people are over and stuff. I don't just do it like sitting by myself.
You should.
Okay.
Well,
All
you
right.
should do the joint thing, but yeah, I know you're
Yeah.
not going to. So, all right. So yeah. So anyway, the Yankees showed everything that as a Yankee fan that watches them closely that you worry about. And it's a good thing that they did and they won. But Cole, after and all that time off, was not crisp. He was getting hit really hard right from the get-go.
Hmm.
Judge made a really good play in center field. Judge threw out, Soto threw out Salvi Perez at home. There was a nice play from Verdugo. The defense made some really nice plays. But Cole wasn't crisp. Canley wasn't crisp. The base running is the ridiculous base running, the stupid base running on Greg DeSalvo joined me for the as you know for the Yankees preview app, and he was talking. I asked him like, "What's the main thing that you're worried about?" And he's like, "Stupidity." And it's funny because this is part of the stupidity. You have base running blunders. Jazz, did you see this? Jazz was thrown out on second base. It was a hit and run. Volpe struck out. Jazz was thrown out. They called him safe. They went to replay. He was out. They call stud. Like, call stud. Okay. I don't know why. Just like Trey Turner in game one.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Phillies got one of those yesterday too. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on, but both cases they got it wrong. We know they got it wrong. Even if it's like a 1% chance that, like, based on the camera angles and replays, they're not, like, if it's 99%, like, okay, just make the call based on that. But anyway, so a weird hit and run where Jazz was like, didn't go until like Volpe swung. It was just so strange. And then he slides. His slide was awkward. They get bailed out by the Major League Baseball messing that up. But then also they had a play at the plate where the Yankees like to, and a lot of teams do this, but the Yankees especially like to, when a runner on third and less than 2 outs, run on contact. The runner on third runs on contact. So Glaber was on third. He was supposed to run on contact. Who was up? I think Jazz was up. Hip hop, I call him. Hip hop Chisholm. So
That's
for now
great.
on, I'm going to refer to him as hip hop. If you want to join me on that,
Okay, sure.
yeah, you could throw in. You could do that. You can refer to him opera, however you want to, just not jazz.
All right.
All right. So hip hop was up,
Country Chisholm. There you go.
Country was up, and he hits a ground ball to first, and Glaber, instead of running immediately on contact, like hesitated, and then he ran, and he was out easily. So the Yankees made some base running blunders. Then Volpe threw a ball away, which should have been a double play. That instead it leads to 2 runs for the Royals to take the lead. The Yankees showed all the concerning things that they've done all year. Yet, and Judge had a bad game. Yet they won. So, yeah.
So, all right. So the 2 biggest things that stick out to me there are, I mean, obviously Judge is just not a postseason player. I mean, he's just not. You know what? He's just not a winning player. He can't handle the pinstripes in October. And secondly,
very funny.
The other biggest thing is you have to wonder if Cole is still feeling the effects of walking Rafi Devers with nobody on and nobody out a month ago.
Oh, yes. Oh, for sure. I mean, the Devers intentional walk is the problem. Very good. Very good. I really want to take this opportunity to squash this Judge can't perform in the postseason narrative. People have to stop with this. We're not talking about a player We're not talking about a player, even if he wasn't doing well, I would say it's going to happen. It's just fluky. But we're not talking about a player that hasn't had success. He's had multiple playoff series with OPSs over 1,000. Like, we have to stop with this. It's ridiculous. In 18 and 19 and 17 in the 17 ALCS, like, he's had a great postseason series. He just had a really bad 2022 postseason, and he had a bad game 1 yesterday. So I want to squash this narrative. It's ridiculous. Everybody has to. It's unbelievable.
I agree.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, he's had 2 series with an OPS over 1,000, and then people are saying he can't end the postseason. So stupid.
Listen, it's all about October, man. Come on.
Yeah, it is all about October.
Pinstripes, dude. Come on.
2 other things I want to talk about. The 2 decisions that were starting position wise, that were really like debatable or questionable was because of the Rizzo injury was first base. They went with Oswaldo. He made a couple really nice scoops. He had a hit, so successful there. And left field, almost every Yankee fan wanted Dominguez because he's the high-end prospect, the Martian, the power, everything. He has that ceiling. And then Verdugo.
They went with Doogie.
Doogie with a huge game. Huge game. The game-winning RBI single, but made a couple good plays in left field. Really good game. On base 3 times.
I mean, I don't watch a lot of Yankees games, and I see that he gets dragged a lot on Twitter. But
he was
like
horrible.
Verdugo.
He was horrible this year. He was horrible. He had a horrible season.
Yeah, I get that, but I still think he's had a couple of pretty good years. I personally would go with someone who's just the more experienced player, the better defender over the kid. I mean, who knows if this is just too big of a spot for Dominguez right now? That's I think that's a real
there's
thing
some risk
to
there.
Consider. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, he definitely has the higher ceiling though in terms of. I mean, he can break a game. He can have a 2-home run game. Where Verdugo's not going to hit 2 homers in a game.
Right.
I mean, watch he does next game. But yeah, you know how that works. But yeah, no.
We all know whatever decision Boone made would have been the wrong one. So.
Yes. If it didn't work out, for sure, it would have been the wrong decision. Whatever he does in game 2 will be the wrong decision if it doesn't work out. And if it works out, brilliant decision.
Right.
In game 1, they both worked out, and as did his bullpen management as well.
Did we have dominant. A Clay Holmes sighting?
Clay Holmes was really good.
Wow, it's almost as if he's a good relief pitcher in Major League Baseball who struggled this year.
Clay Holmes got 5 outs in this game. The second most outs out of any Yankee pitcher other than
Go Clay, go. Wow, that is awesome.
And then Luke Weaver was just dominant in the 8th and 9th.
That is yeah. I mean, the game couldn't have gone. It sounds like it couldn't have gone better from a me making fun of Yankees fans perspective. So I'm happy to hear that.
It could. I mean,
the Clay Holmes thing is fantastic. That is just such great news. This guy got dragged all year.
It really is great news because if he not only did he pitch well and the results good, the movement on the sinker was back to elite Clay.
Right.
And if he has that and they can rely on him, then all of a sudden their bullpen's actually amazing. That's the difference between a shaky bullpen and an amazing bullpen and elite Clay Holmes. So hopefully,
totally, yeah. So again, I mean,
hopefully
it's almost as if the guy's a good pitcher. I mean, it's what a crazy concept.
Well, hopefully you can go back a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, a month from now, and we could go back on this pod and laugh at all the Clay Holmes tweets, all the Clay Holmes hate, and be like, look at this guy now. Hopefully. Anyway, Yankees up 1-0. They play on, we're recording this on Sunday night, so they play tomorrow night on Monday. By the time this is out, game 2 will have already been concluded. So hopefully they'll be up 2-0.
I suspect they will be.
Rodon versus Cole Reagans. I'm also interested to see who's going to play first base. It might be John Birdie.
We'll see.
Shaky fans will disagree with.
Whatever Boone does will be the wrong decision. So, that guy.
All
that
right.
guy.
So, yeah, he'll make. I would like to see
another Eagles fan too. By the way,
big Eagles fan. Oh, and Tommy Kahnle also.
Big Eagles fan, man. All these Eagles fans infiltrating New York sports, man. I mean, the gall of these people. Fuck them.
I don't think Boone and Tommy Kahnle are as vocal about it to Yankee fans like Brunson is to Knicks fans. Like he wants them to know, look, guys, I'm an Eagles fan. Most people receive it well, and then you get the 2%, 5% that are nuts. So
piece of shit. Yeah.
All right, let's get to football.
All right.
No Eagles this week. Congrats.
Thank God.
We don't have to talk about that.
We don't have to watch them. Didn't have to talk about them. What a great way to not spend 3 hours on my Sunday.
What a great episode to not do 40 minutes on the Eagles on how
seriously.
the season's over and how
Yeah.
your life's over with them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's stay away from your negativity for a second, and let's talk about my negativity as a sports fan.
Okay, let's do it.
Did you watch some of the Jets-Vikings game?
I did not. No.
You did not. Okay, so
I was scoreboard watching. Saw that Rodgers had 3 picks, and I think they had a chance to win it at the end, right?
They did, and this is okay. Ready for this? They're down 17-0. The offense looks horrible. Rodgers looks horrible. 2 interceptions in the first quarter for the first time of his career.
Wow.
They looked awful.
Including a pick 6 by Mekhi Becton.
I think you're going to confuse everyone by that joke.
Yeah, that is a real. If you get that joke, you are a real fan of the podcast, and we love you.
Yeah, you get that joke. You're a diehard
inner circle. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the inner circle. So, yeah, the pick 6 by Van Ginkel. The offense was so bad. Breece Hall looked bad. The offensive line was bad. The receivers looked bad. Lazard was dropping balls. Mike Williams I don't know if he was on the field. I didn't notice him for just about the whole game. And Garrett Wilson and Rodgers were off. By the way, in this game, 23 targets for Garrett Wilson.
Damn.
Yeah, I think Rodgers wants Devontae. So awful. And they're down 17-0. And I'm feeling like
it's over.
The game's over, and I'm like, oh my God, this really sucks. Are they really not going to be good this year? Like that, I was thinking that.
Wow.
It doesn't.
You never think that way.
It takes a lot for me, and I was like, I can't believe this is happening. How is Rodgers? How is he this bad? They scored at the end of the half. Their defense was amazing in the second half. Incredible. The Jets secondary, the Jets pass rush, they were just really good. The Aaron Jones injury helped, but their defense played a great game. The second half, they really shut them down. I come away feeling a little bit better about the game, even though they lost. The offense got it together. The Rodgers-Garrett Wilson connection got a lot better as the game went on. Breece started running a little bit better, looking a little, showing some bursts, looking a little bit better. So I feel at 2-3 after the loss, I feel a little bit better than I did when they were down 17-0 in the first half. Still some really major concerns with the offense. Rodgers now has a sprained ankle. He's getting knocked around. He can't move. He has a knee injury he's playing through. He has an ankle injury now. The receivers, the non-Allen Lazard receivers, have no chemistry with Rodgers. That's an exaggeration. Not no chemistry, but they're just off. And that's a problem because Lazard's not good.
He's not definitely good. Not. Right. Yeah, he's definitely not.
If his quarterback's not Aaron Rodgers, he's not an NFL receiver.
Right, exactly.
So it's a real problem. And maybe they bring in Devontae, and that's the solution.
Yeah, that sucks, man. That's kind of like why you got to win those games against the Denver Broncos, because you have Minnesota, the hottest team in the NFL, on the schedule in London. Like it's a really tough ask.
And now to that point, now they have to go play the Bills on Monday night.
I know. Did they end up winning today? I saw they were in
the Bills lost to the Texans.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're 3-2.
They were down 3. Yeah, so they're not like world beaters. Everybody thought they were.
And if the Jets beat the Bills, they're tied for first in the division. So it's not like this is not season over at all. It's just very disappointing and frustrating to watch this when the expectations and the hopes were so high. Like finally, the Jets are going to be good, and they have not shown that other than one game against the Pats. They found a way to beat the Titans. They found a way to lose to the Broncos. They had a chance. So what you're saying is they did have the they had the ball. They were driving down the field, down 6. So obviously, touchdown, extra point wins the game. They're at the 30 with like 50 seconds left, and Mike Williams had single coverage, and there was some miscommunication on this one. Rogers looked like I don't know if Rogers was trying to go back shoulder or he thought Mike Williams was just going to stop, recognize the coverage, and come back. And Rogers just made a bad throw. Also, he acknowledged in the postgame, he said, I underthrew him. Mike Williams didn't even turn around. Interception. And that was it. They just went on the knee. So disappointing game. They did put it together though. So from down 17-0 to lose 23-17 and have be 30 yards away from actually winning the game, I feel a lot better than I did. But they need to win on Monday night. That's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game, man. I'll be rooting for you.
I was also concerned about the Monday night schedule. So what's the situation with like the playoff schedule? I wonder how this is going to be impacted. The Yankees would play a game 5 if necessary on Saturday. I wonder if game 1 of the ALCS would be that Monday. That would suck. That would be horrible.
That would suck.
I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do what do you do in those situations?
So that happens 2 years ago. The Phillies were in the World Series, and the Eagles were playing Thursday night football, and they were playing both Houston teams. Actually, they were playing the Texans in Houston, and obviously they were playing the Astros in the World Series. So,
yeah.
But I had I'm trying to remember. I know I had one game up on my iPad. I don't remember which one it was, though. It was probably the Eagles game up on the iPad and the Phillies game on the big TV. So it's doable. Again, just like the pacing of baseball kind of lends credence to that. It's not like you're trying to watch 2 basketball games at the same time, or like a basketball game and a hockey game where there's just
that happens to me. That happens to me many times when Knicks and Rangers are playing playoff games at the same night at the same time, and that sucks. It sucks.
That you can't do. Again, football, you get a break between plays, and then obviously the pitching in baseball. So,
and the thing is, I think most people don't understand this from like the diehard sports fan, because a football game we treat as like a playoff game for the other teams, right? That's how intense it is. That's how important there's only 17 of the games. So, and we are so locked in. I know you're the same way on each pitch, every bat, each pitch, each second of the baseball game. Now, like you were saying, there's some opportunity in between pitches to do other stuff. And if you might miss a pitch here and there, but we're locked in on 90% of the pitches probably. And in the other sport, and on a football game, on every play, on basketball and hockey, we're locked into we're not just looking at what's going on. We're thinking like, as we're like part of the team, we're thinking as like we're coaching the team, like we're really looking at each detail of the game. So you can't do that with 2 games at once. It's just not possible. But you don't have the brain capacity or the eyes to do it. So it sucks. I hate that.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully the Yankees don't need a game 5. Well, wait, no, that'd be game 1 of the ALCS. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but I can't worry about that right now. So the Giants, take me through yours. Because this is interesting. So
that was I was scoreboard watching for them. Saw that they were
because I was watching the Phillies Mets game, and then I had the Giants on a different monitor, and in between innings I would go back to the Giants game. So, but because you were delayed on the Phillies game. But you turned your phone off. So how are you? So like, well, yeah. So can I take me through that?
So I just had my work phone up, and I was just like Googled like Seahawks Giants, and they had the box score and everything.
You're just Googling it. Okay.
So, yeah. So super disappointing.
Do you remember? Did you used to? There was a time where we could text Google, like when we had flip phones. Like you would text Google, and it would like if I texted Google the Yankee, like there was a Google number, and I texted it Yankees, and it would, like text back the score.
Really?
You never
No.
did that?
Mm-mm.
I think I was like that was like middle. We're
Oh
talking
wow.
like
Yeah,
I
that
don't
must have been
know.
on your sidekick, man. Did you have one of those, or did you have the
No,
Voyager? Remember the Voyager?
I don't even remember what I had.
Yeah, Razor. You had a Razor. Come on.
I really don't remember.
Yeah,
I'm not a brand person, you know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember
Anyway,
that.
so
But anyway, yeah, I was googling it. Yeah, I mean, it's super disappointing that they're bad. I'm sure that they're back. I haven't really been on Twitter much, but this is it's a disaster. I mean, that was a game that
well,
they were probably heavy underdogs in.
yeah, in Seattle, I think they were like
In
5
Seattle.
point underdogs.
Yeah, yeah. Especially without neighbors, and
No neighbors.
they fucking won.
Well, did
Seattle
you
had a
see?
chance to had yeah. I just saw I saw it was 23-20. I was kind of watching that they got the ball down within field goal range, and then I just saw it was 29-20. I was like, okay, well, something funky must have happened. And yeah, I saw that they fucking block a kick and return it for a touchdown. This is just like the quintessential like Giants win. Like because like who does that ever happen to? Like with the normal team, if that was Philadelphia, I'll tell you exactly what would happen. The Seahawks would kick the field goal, they'd make it, and then win it in overtime, like any other normal team that struggled a little bit, but they're the better team and they're at home. Like that's just what's gonna happen. And the Giants block. Not only do they block the field goal, they return it for a touchdown. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, who else does that happen for, dude? Like, nobody.
Yeah, crazy,
Fuck them,
crazy.
dude.
So you actually think the Giants, like you're worried that the Giants not only are they going to be better than we thought, they're going to like be better than the Eagles, maybe compete for a playoff spot.
I think the Eagles are at this point in the season the worst team in the division.
They have a better record than the Giants.
They've also played one less game, so
Yeah, but you'd rather be 2-2 than 2-3.
I guess.
What do you mean you guess? Of course you'd rather be 2-2 than 2-3. The best you could do the worst case scenario for a 2-2 team is to be 2-3.
Yeah, I sure. Okay. But this is like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they lose next week, then they'll be 2-3 also. So,
and that's going to happen. They might not win a game the rest of the year.
God, they're 9.5-point favorites.
Oh, you're
you know
worried.
What that means too. Of course, I'm worried.
It means they'll probably win by 7 points. Okay, so let's move on to the NHL preview. Last week we did Islanders and Devils. I don't know if you saw this, but the Devils, I think they were in like Czech Republic. They actually started the season against the Buffalo Sabres. They played 2 games.
Oh, wow.
Devils won both games. That's why we did Devils Islanders last week. Yeah. The Sabres are probably going to be bad again.
4 points.
So Flyers. Talking about bad, the Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, 87 points, 6 in the Metro. That's out of 8 teams. It was supposed to be a full-on rebuild year, but of course, when you have John Tortorella, he doesn't accept that. He gets the most out of a young team, less skilled roster, with his discipline, with his heavy forechecking philosophy, with his protecting the net, blocking shots philosophy, and for most of the season, I know you're talking about how surprised you were, and I was surprised by it, and they were in a playoff spot. They were somehow hanging in a playoff spot, and then eventually it fell apart because guys got hurt because they're staying in front of the net blocking shots, and the lack of skill and depth took over, and they fell apart down the stretch of the season. What are your thoughts on the last season first, and kind of where they are going into the season?
Yeah, so last season was just I hate to use the same word twice in such a short amount of time, but yeah, last season was the quintessential Philadelphia season. I mean, they did their best Eagles impression. The only difference is that the Eagles, stumbled their way into the playoffs and got their asses kicked in the first game. Whereas, with the Flyers, they missed the cut. But yeah, they had a pretty firm grip on a playoff spot until like the last month of the season, and they went on like a 13 game losing streak, and pretty much just they took a nosedive and weren't able to make it. Now,
Yep.
if you would have told me before the season started that, hey, they would have been a solid team and they were going to be a couple points out of a playoff spot, I think that any fan would have signed up for that for sure. But again, just the way that it happened, like, totally sucked. Again, no expectations. There's something that's really fun and special about a team that you have no expectations for, that overachieves, and then they become the lovable underdog. So
For sure. Absolutely.
fun season to watch. Super disappointing end to everything, but I mean, I think they should be a little bit better this year. A lot of the guys, there's such a young team, so a lot of the guys, hopefully with just another year experience, another year in the Tortorella system. And then, they made a couple of moves, especially this guy Michkov, everyone's really
Top
excited
first round
about.
pick.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
And he's supposed to make the roster, right? I think he made it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's 19 years old.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited because there's not unlike the other three teams in Philadelphia, there's not a lot of expectation for the Flyers, which just takes the pressure off. It makes you enjoy games a little bit more. There's not this crushing weight.
Yeah, it's about the
on
rebuild,
every-
right? Where it's like, let's see the progression. Let's see the young players develop.
Yep.
Let's see what Michkov can do. Let's see what like guys like Frost and Forrester, and let's see what these guys do, how they progress. So yeah, that makes
Yep.
sense. And then
Totally.
if they're bad, it's like, okay, well, they're rebuilding, and if they're good, it's
Right.
like, this is awesome. This is fun.
At least they seemingly have some direction, where they didn't really have that in the past however many years. They've been a middling, like 7-8 seed, never really good enough. Maybe they'd make the playoffs and get bounced in the first round. Maybe they would just miss out on the last playoff spot, but they would keep, instead of rebuilding, they were just kind of trying to add pieces onto a team that just wasn't really that good. So they've got a little bit of direction now. They're making moves and they're rebuilding. So hopefully they could take a step in the right direction this year. I would like to see them make the playoffs this year. I don't expect them to make like a deep run or anything like that, but make the playoffs. I would say you don't even have to like win the first round series or anything. Just don't get embarrassed. Just show that you belong on the ice with another playoff team.
Yeah, I think I was looking at what they did last year, and they had a hard time scoring goals. So Konechny led the team with 68 points, which was 58th in the NHL. He was their leading points guy. I mean, that's not good.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, so Couturier, Forrester, Konechny, top line, and then Michkov's going to be right there in the top six with Frost and Tippett. And I think if Michkov is one of those rookies that like comes out right away as a high end creator, he doesn't necessarily have to score a lot of goals, but just create scoring chances. I think that then the top six forwards look a lot better. If he struggles, which a lot of first round picks struggle, like it's not. Everyone thinks of like Jack Hughes and Connor McDavid, like that's the minority. Top 5
Absolutely.
picks that start right away regularly struggle the first year, and they don't reach that elite ceiling for a couple of years. So if that happens, they're going to have struggle scoring goals, but they're going to play Tortorella hockey. I mean, they're going to stand in front of the net and block shots, and And if they don't, they're going to be benched because Torts does not take any shit from anyone.
That's right.
I love that
Yeah.
guy.
Yep. Me too.
The players
too.
love him until they don't. Then they hate him. So that's why he keeps leaving after a couple of years, because he can only do his routine so many years. At some point, it's like, dude, what are you doing to me? Like, I'm 25 years old. You're treating me like I'm a 16-year-old.
Right. Yeah, it works with young guys, and that's why they overachieve, because you have these hungry young guys who want to come in and make a name for themselves, and it doesn't work on like that's why Kevin Hayes hated Tortorella last year.
Of course, Kevin Hayes hated Tortorella.
Right.
Wait, I think Kevin Hayes played for him with the Rangers too, unless my time's off. Maybe he got there after Tortorella left. It's hard to remember, but yes, for sure. There's some veterans that like they're Torts guys. Like I think about when he was on like coaching the Rangers, like Ryan Callahan, like Dan Girardi. Like Torts will love that guy. They'll love those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's also why like they had a hard time with getting superstars, because those goal scorers don't want to stand in front of the net and block shots.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like it was a whole thing with Marion Gaborik. Like Gaborik just wouldn't do it, and Torts would just bench him from time to time. It's like, what? This guy's a 50 goal scorer. What are you doing?
Yeah. This ain't the United States of Tortorella.
Yeah, there you go. What do you think about the goaltending situation?
I don't think they'll be super. I don't think they're going to be very good.
I didn't realize that Carter Hart was gone.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I looked into the Flyers.
Probably never be back. Yeah. It was that was super disappointing. They're going to go with.
Am I pronouncing that correctly? Fedotov?
Yeah, they're going to go with a couple young guys who probably aren't going to be very good. The Flyers just, for whatever reason, never have good goalies. It's super weird.
The Rangers always have good goalies.
I know, dude. It's weird. I mean, the Flyers really haven't had a good goalie since fucking Ron Hextall 30 years ago, and they've tried. It's not like they haven't tried. They've paid free agents. They've drafted guys.
They've gotten. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they've gotten a couple seasons here and there, but they haven't had a consistent goalie who year after year.
Right, and they've had a couple guys who, I know you're going to laugh at this, but they've had a couple guys who.
Oh, I know Bobrovsky. You're going to say guys that went on to have
Yes, yeah. Brizgalov is another one.
Oh yeah, Briz.
Just horrible on the Flyers.
Weren't they both the goalies when Peter Laviolette was their coach? At least Bobrovsky. I think both of them. It was around the same time they were there.
But it was towards the end of Laviolette's tenure there. I don't recall. It was probably what?
All right.
10 years ago at this point.
We're talking about it's funny you said that. So I think it was about 2010 to 2013-ish range.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when Tortorella was the Rangers coach and Laviolette was the Flyers coach, and they were both really good teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in college and I roomed with a diehard Flyers fan, and we would have a lot of fun with that. So
yeah.
Speaking of the Rangers, speaking of Peter Laviolette, their head coach, last season 114 points, President's Trophy winners. Unfortunately, they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Florida Panthers, who showed that they were bigger and stronger and faster. So what did the Rangers do to adjust the roster to get bigger? Not really anything. They're bringing back the core. This is a core that's made 2 Eastern Conference Finals. They won the President's Trophy last year. They've been one of the best teams in the league. The core is Igor Shesterkin, a top 2 or 3 goalie, Artemi Panarin, a top 5 forward, Adam Fox, a top 3 defenseman. Those are the 3 star players, real true elite star players, and then Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, Vincent Trocheck, Alexis Lafreniere. That's really makes up the core. So they're bringing back all those guys. The team is pretty much the same. They added Riley Smith in free agency. He was hurt last year, didn't play much. 2 years ago, he was actually really good. So he'll be that wing that they need. They've been trying to, for like 3 or 4 years now, they've been trying to find a right wing to play with Mika and Kreider. And like, it's just been a revolving door. They try someone every year. It doesn't work. They end up like going through 3 or 4 guys throughout the season. They end up at the deadline trading for someone like a third line player, putting him on that line, expecting him to be a top 6 guy, and he's not. So hopefully Riley Smith will actually fit that role. And for the Rangers, other than that, Filipino has had a concussion problem, so hopefully he stays healthy this year. That could be a huge X factor. Other than that, I mean, it's the same. You're just running it back and hoping that something's different in the playoffs. I mean, I feel like if this was a Philadelphia team, you would be very annoyed by that philosophy in the offseason.
So, yeah, I could see why you'd say that, but I think I just think hockey's weird, and if you're getting to late rounds of the playoffs, like I think you and Greg kind of had this conversation on the Yankees preview, but it's like the playoffs are so random in hockey and baseball that it's like eventually the randomness is going to kind of go your way. So
yeah, because Greg gets really annoyed that the Yankees call Cashman specifically refers to the playoffs as a crapshoot. He's really annoyed. It bothers him, and a lot of Yankee fans are bothered by that. They're like, that's an excuse. Anyway.
Well, he is. Yeah. Anyway, but I think that there's some validity to that. To where if you could just kind of get there and ride your goalie, I'm a big like get the hot goalie in the playoffs and like let's see what happens.
Igor's been awesome in the playoffs. He is.
Oh,
if it wasn't for him,
amazing.
If it wasn't for him, they would have lost to Carolina in round 2.
Right.
Igor's incredible.
The Prince.
By the way, speaking of Igor, I don't know if you saw this. He's on the last year of his contract.
Oh, no. I did not see that.
It's like becoming an issue, apparently, in terms of negotiations where they are not on the same page. So I think he might be playing the season out and then going into free agency.
Wow.
Rangers can't let him go. You just, like, they have a lot of cap issues. They're going to lose a lot of players. They're going to have to make a bunch of tough decisions if they give him the money that he deserves and he's requesting, but you can't let him go. You let the other players go.
You can't let him go. Yeah.
You can't.
Maybe Philadelphia offers a 5th and a 7th for him, or you know how these stupid GMs love their draft picks, man. I mean, come on.
The NHL's a lot different with it, though. To be fair, like the NHL, you trade like a depth piece or you trade like a 3rd line, 4th line guy at the deadline, you get a 2nd round pick back.
Right.
Whereas in the other sports, like Devontae's gonna be traded for like a 5th round pick in the NFL.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot different. But anyway, so other than that, it's pretty much the same team. I mean, some questions. Can Lafreniere take the next step? He was a number 2 overall pick a couple of years ago. Kind of what we were referring to what we were talking about earlier about top picks struggling. It took him till his 3rd year to really become an impact player. Can he take the next step? He was really good in the playoffs. He was probably their best forward in the playoffs, actually. So if he takes that next step, if they get some Hedl health, then I think the Rangers actually might be better this year than they were last year. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do better than 114 points. Because I think there's some randomness to wins and losses in hockey, right? So I think 114 points is a high expectation. I saw actually FanDuel has them at like their over-under is like 101 or something, which I would take the over. I'm not going to, but
wow.
I would advise people if they want to bet on the over-under Rangers points, take the over.
Good call. Yeah. Seems low.
I think we're going to see Matt Rempe for a full season. Maybe the excitement of Matt Rempe will wear off because I thought it was a little ridiculous. But I want a guy who's going to help them win, not a guy who's just tough and hits people.
Right.
So, all right. By the way, also, I'm hoping Capo Caco has a breakout season as well because he was another. Oh, by the way, I said Lafreniere was a first pick. He was a second pick. He was the first pick a few years ago. The year before, Caco was the second pick, and Capo Caco has not played more than just like an average NHL forward up to this point. So hopefully he has something in there as well. So, all right, that's the Rangers. Rangers start on Wednesday, the 9th. So Not sure if this is going to be out or
Wow,
if,
that's
for those of you
so
that are
close,
listening.
man.
And the Flyers start on Friday, the 11th. I think that's the 11th.
Wow.
So much sports is going on. It's going to be like the Rangers start on Wednesday night. The Yankees are playing a playoff game. Obviously, the first regular season game is not going to be nearly as important as a playoff game for the Yankees, but I'm going to have the two screens going. I'll have the Rangers on the laptop.
Wow, NBA preseason's going right now too, man.
I know.
Pretty wild.
I saw Cat 3.
Oh God, let's not talk about it. Not talk
All
about
right,
it till
so
we have to.
Let's move on to subscriber questions. Actually, let's do. You want to mock New York fans on Twitter first?
Yeah, we'll mock New York fans on Twitter. So I only have one this week. Inside baseball here.
All right.
Most of the time I search for, I'm always kind of searching for tweets throughout the week. Busy week this week, but I usually look for them on Monday because I know we're going to record that day. Today is obviously Sunday. Didn't have as much time to look them up as I'd like to.
To let everyone know, so you can be in on the podcast discussions. We're recording today, Sunday night, because the Yankees have a playoff game Monday night. The Phillies have a playoff game Tuesday night. The Yankees have a playoff game Wednesday night. And the Phillies play Wednesday as well. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, and basically there's too much sports going on every other night. So we had to do it tonight. So, okay. Back to the tweet, sorry.
All right, so the tweet comes to us from, his name is Dom, and his handle is at Bronx BMBRZ. So at Bronx Bombers. His profile picture is a picture of Juan Soto. Like, Juan Soto's looking off in the other way, and you can see the number 22. He's got a bat. He's like
nice. Okay.
In the on deck circle, it looks like, right? So Dom. This guy was like really bugging during the Tigers Astros series, and
okay.
So this is what I was going to ask you before. I saw a lot of people on Yankees Twitter like roasting Josh Hader for whatever reason. So that's what I was going to ask you. Well, let me read the tweet first, and then I have a question for you. So Josh Hader doesn't do very well during the Astros-Tigers series.
Yep.
So he this is what the guy tweets. He says, Josh Hader stats. Let's look at the facts. And it's all bullet points. The first bullet point is overrated velocity merchant. Second bullet point is owned by Juan Soto. Third bullet point is can't pitch in high leverage situations. Last bullet point is 2 bases clearing extra base hits allowed in the postseason. And then, what a mediocre pitcher! Exclamation point. So, why do Yankee fans hate Josh Hader?
I had no idea the Yankee fans hated Josh Hader. Why?
Really?
I mean, I
don't
get
either.
it.
I was confused by it. Yeah.
Let's think about it. I
Is he
understand.
like gonna sign there or something? And the Yankee fans think they're gonna get every good player. So.
Well, he was a free agent this past off season before signing with the Astros. A lot of Yankee fans wanted him, but there was no reports of like the Yankees offering him a deal and him going to the Astros instead or anything like that. I just don't think the Yankees believe in spending a lot of money on a free agent relief pitcher, which I agree with. When you can turn like guys like Luke Weaver into a high end reliever, why would you spend $20 million a year on someone who has been good?
Of course.
I don't know. He was on the Brewers for essentially his whole career. Amazing, lights out. Signs with the Astros as a free agent.
It has to be just an Astros thing. Yeah, it has to be an Astros thing.
Oh, okay. Let's just hate. Yeah, which is it's kind of pathetic, right? Like Like, because they beat the Yankees so many times, you have to like hate on them. Like, why don't you worry about the
Yeah, I
Yankees?
mean, I also like think it's not like this guy like has like I get it if okay, so the Astros beat the Yankees a lot, but like it's not like Josh Hader was
He
a
wasn't even
big
on the
part in
team.
it. That's what I mean. It's not like he was a big part in any of these series, so it's like I don't know, just weird. Again,
Like
Yankees fans
hate on Ryan Presley because he was their closer all those years.
just yeah
Okay, fine.
hate on Bregman, hate on
Hate on
like
Altuve,
obviously
yeah,
Altuve,
whatever.
right? Yeah, that's all fair game. Hate on
Bregman,
Garrett
future
Cole.
Philadelphia Philly.
Yeah. Um, but yeah,
Hate
I
on
thought
Garrett
that
Cole. I
was
saw that. Nice, nice,
yeah.
good one.
Thank you. Yeah, so I just thought I thought that was weird. I was seeing a lot of that go
It
on.
is very strange. I don't understand why Yankee fans specifically would hate on Josh Hader. I
Again,
I
it
just don't
must
know
be
what to say to
because
that.
dude, so you probably don't know this, but again, like I'm not joking when I say like Yankees fans think they're getting every free agent who is like very good to great, like they think that they're getting. Um, like
Do they think
every
they're
single one
getting,
of them,
or
dude.
do
Like
they
I
think they
see.
sh-
No,
you-
they think they're getting. They say, "Oh, this
'cause-
guy wants to play in New York." Like I remember they did it. Like I remember what like when Harper was like on a tear in 2022 in the playoffs, and they were all saying like, "Oh, Cashman chose not to sign Harper, and
I mean
he
that's kind
chose."
of true though.
No, stop. Come on.
No. I mean, look, I'm not saying that Bryce Harper would have definitely gone to the Yankees. We don't know. So the Phillies could have outbid them. He could have chose the Phillies, but the Yankees, when they traded for Stanton, did take themselves out of the Harper running. I mean, they did. They weren't going to sign Harper when they had Stanton and Judge at the time. They weren't. So
Right,
that's
exactly.
true. I'm not saying he would have gone to them if they didn't trade for Stanton. They were in on him, but there was a pretty good chance they would have gotten him. I mean, typically when the Yankees really want a free agent, they do get him. The difference is when the fans really want a free agent, that doesn't mean the Yankees really want the free agent.
Yeah,
So
well, honestly, it just proves that Cashman is inept and he should be fired. I mean, he didn't sign Harper or Hader, so like, what is he doing?
in
Fuck
retrospect,
that guy.
though, trading for Stanton and not signing Harper was the wrong move. In retrospect, it doesn't mean that they didn't trade for Stanton. We don't know. They may not have gotten Harper. It doesn't work that way. But if we're just talking about Stanton or Harper, it's not even somewhat close. It was like Harper's has been so much better. I mean, Stanton can't even run. They lost 2 runs the other day. They lost 2 runs in game 1 because he can't run.
I will probably be able to dig up some really funny tweets about this. So
I'm sure.
maybe we could follow. No, I mean about like Harper to the Yankees specifically.
Oh,
Like I've seen,
but I thought you
I've
meant
seen.
about the Stanton Harper thing because I'm sure you can dig up a lot of tweets
Oh
about
yeah,
that because Yankee
yeah,
fans
yeah.
will not let that go. They will not let it go. They can't acknowledge what I just acknowledged that could be that in retrospect choosing Stanton over Harper was wrong. But while saying at the time when you trade for Stanton, you have no idea what's going to happen with Bryce Harper's free agency. He can sign an extension, not get the free agency. You can be outbid. He can choose a different team. You don't know what's going to happen. So you can acknowledge those two things. Most Yankee fans will not acknowledge the second part.
Yeah, but they will
I disagree
acknowledge
with most
that
Yankee fans, though. So I disagree with most Yankee fans on most things.
yes, that's why you're the odd man out, man.
I just
You
must
are
not
the
care.
minority.
I must
Yeah.
not want them to win.
You need to feel the vitriol for Cashman in your veins, dude, in your blood.
Subscriber questions. I have one. This is from Ryan on Instagram. Ryan_F. Question for Sistad. That's you.
That's me.
Are you ready for this question?
I'm ready.
You know the Philly teams have more championships during our time as sports fans. Why do you act like, oh, poor Philadelphia can't win anything?
Hmm.
So why do you do that?
He's okay. Can you repeat the question? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm
No, I
following.
can't
He
repeat
said
it.
Philadelphia has more championships.
He's saying that Philadelphia teams have more championships during our time as sports fans. I'm assuming he assumes that we're in the same, that you guys are in the same, well, all three of us are in the same age group. Why do you act like, oh, poor Philadelphia can't win anything? So he's saying, if I'm understanding this correctly, he's saying that you act on this podcast like Philadelphia, being a sports fan is so hard, they don't win anything ever. But you act like New York's won a lot and the fans are spoiled and just complain even though they've won a lot. I think that's kind of what I'm inferring by that question.
Well, yeah, I think I'd need a little clarity. But thank you for the
Just
question.
answer the question. Answer the
Well,
question. You don't need clarity.
If he's saying that Philadelphia has more championships in our lifetime, I mean that is just definitively wrong. Just not even close.
But wait,
I mean,
hold on a second. Our time as sports fans, not lifetime. Our time as sports fans. You were not a sports fan. So this person, if he's saying you're what? You were born in what? 1991, 1990?
1990. Yep.
Okay. You were not okay. So say he was born in 1990. Just say around the same age, right? He was not a sports fan in 1996 when the Yankees won. He was not a sports fan in 1998 when the Yankees won, right? He wasn't really a sports fan in 99 or 2000 because he was, let's just say you were 9 or 10 years old during that time. That's not, I personally would think that doesn't count. You're not really a sports fan when you're 10 years old. You are you are relative to being a 10-year-old, but not relative to being a adult sports fan. So I'm assuming that's what he's doing. And maybe he doesn't know your exact age. So he's probably excluding the 90 Dynasty Yankees. Okay. So if you're with me on this, right? So then he's right. The Phillies have 2. Philadelphia has 2. New York has 1. Oh, wait, no, Giants. New York has 3. So he must be a Jets fan, not thinking about it like that. That's probably what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can sort of count some of those late '90s ones if you're a Yankees fan. I mean, you probably
no.
You didn't watch the World Series
when I was born in 90. I was born at the end of 91. Good question. The way I recall and remember the 90s dynasty is hazy because I remember each playoff run, each World Series very detailed. I can go through bats, but a lot of that is because I watched those World Series DVDs constantly growing up. So the 96 Yankees, I feel like I was watching it.
Yeah, those are the best.
But my point is I recall 96 really vividly, but because I watched it after the fact and I've looked up, I spent many, many hours looking at stats from the 90s teams. So it almost feels like I remember it happening, but I was 5 years old. I don't. It's impossible that I can actually remember this stuff. So that's why it's hazy for me. So I think that my real first memory as a Yankee fan, specific, like really locked into it, really truly understanding what was going on, was 2003 when they lost to the Marlins in the World Series.
Okay, so you were what, 10 or 11 at that time? No, 12.
I was 11. Yeah, 11.
Yeah. So I guess I understand that. I think that you do have a little bit of, even if you're not like super dialed in as a really young kid, like if you're watching it with your family, your parents, I think you remember some of that. Like even if you don't fully understand, but I
it's
think
not the
that
same though. It's not the same.
It's not the same, but you still have these memories. Like if I was born in 1990. In 1999, I remember being 9 years old. If I was a Yankees fan, like if this was a Philadelphia team, I would absolutely remember like the feeling of joy and sitting with my dad and my brother, like celebrating, even though I didn't fully understand the nuances of everything and free agency and salary cap and stuff. I would remember that.
Imagine
feeling.
I'm just saying that at 11.
No, but I'm just, you know what I mean though. Like I think that
you're saying
the joy that really deep, long playoff runs. I think that those can
Interesting.
create real memories.
I see
And I
I see
wouldn't
you're
know
saying.
because
I get it.
Philadelphia didn't have any of that when
Ah,
I was a
there you
kid.
go.
Um,
Okay, I understand. I get what you're
but
saying.
hold on, hold on,
Yeah,
hold on.
yeah.
Here's
Okay,
here's
I'm holding.
the real answer to that. So that's a really good point by Ryan. But Yankees fans will not let you forget that they had the dynasty in the 90s. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say, hey, woe is me in New York. Also, we're the best. We're the Yankees. Pinstripes. October is all that matters. And kind of not count that. So,
But Ryan's not saying why are you upset for New York fans doing, Yankee fans doing that, or New York fans doing that. He's asking why are you acting like poor Philadelphia can't win anything. So I think your answer to this question is that's actually his point is not true. Philadelphia has won less than New York, even if you count like since
even if you discount the 90s.
let's just say start in 2004, right? New York probably has the worst heartbreaking loss in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
But New York has 3 championships, 2 Giants, 1 Yankees. Philadelphia has 1 Eagles, 1 Phillies. So either way, it's not the point he's making is not true. But it's close. So let me change the question and say, do you acknowledge that Philadelphia teams have really been very just about as successful since like 2003 or 2002 as New York teams?
Do I acknowledge that? I guess we have to determine what successful means. Because yeah, I think that
Playoff appearances, deep playoff runs, championships, and then like there's a negative multiplier in some way in your mind. Think about it for being like a horrible team. So process Sixers, horrible. Jets the last 12 years, horrible. Or 10 of those 12 years, horrible. The Knicks with all those 20, 25 win seasons, similar to the process
horrible.
Sixers,
Yes,
horrible. So and the Giants the last bunch of years outside of 22, horrible. So factor all that in. The Yankees perennial playoff team. As you say, roll out of bed and they're in the ALCS. So
yes,
what do you think comparing? Because the Philadelphia teams during this time would be the Eagles have had a couple of bad years, but they've had a lot of good years, a lot of runs to the NFC Championship game, a Super Bowl championship, another run to the Super Bowl, a bunch of good teams, a bunch of good they've had good quarterbacks. They've had I know you don't think Hurts is good now, but they've gone through good quarterbacks.
no, I can obviously confidently say the Eagles are a very well run organization. They're not great every year, but in my lifetime, yeah, I mean they've definitely brought me the most joy out of any other team.
And the Phillies have had some really bad years. They've also now had 2 core rosters that have been really good for a number of years in a row. They had the Chase Utley, Ryan Howard teams. They had Jimmy Rollins, of course. Can't forget J. Roll. Got to include him in there.
Of course.
Roy Halladay, Cole Hamels,
Ryan Howard.
That team. I think I said Ryan Howard actually.
Oh,
by the way, and now this core roster that's been making playoff runs. So they've had and then the Flyers were good. They had those like Eric Lindros years, and then they had we were talking about before the Peter Laviolette years. They were really good, and they've won. They didn't win a Stanley Cup, but they made the finals once.
They made the finals, in 2010.
2010, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the Sixers had the AI years. They went to the finals that one year with AI.
Mm-hmm.
They had obviously a star player in AI, and they had a lot of playoff appearances, and then some really bad years and some even worse years of the process Sixers. And then they've been a perennial playoff team, second round exit.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia second rounders. Some people
put it all together. What do you think? I think it's been pretty close.
So I think, yes, in the grand scheme of things, it has the overall attitude, I think, of the two fan bases is just so different. Because, like you said, it's been relatively similar in terms of winning championships for the two teams. But Philadelphia fans don't go around puffing their chest saying, this is Philadelphia and this
think
is
they do.
red pinstripes, and no, they don't.
I
God,
think they do.
no, I think Philadelphians hate Philadelphia just as much as you do. Not you, but like just
Yeah,
as
not
much
me.
as
Yeah,
America
okay.
does. So yeah, again, like you'll never hear someone try to win an argument by saying, "Oh, this is Philadelphia." Like
Fair,
you can't
fair.
play
Oh,
like
that's true.
Whereas
But that's not just a
Yankees
New
fans,
York. That's not just a New York sports thing. That's a New York elitist thing. And it's same thing with LA, where they think they're better than the rest of the country because it's New York City. Like, it's ridiculous, obviously.
yeah. Well, this is a sports podcast, and we talk about sports, so that just is what it is.
It reminds me of an episode of Curb. I know you so you started watching Curb recently. You're early in, but there's an episode of Curb at some point. It's much later on. You'll get there in like 2 years when you're playing catch up. But
Yeah.
have you seen an episode with Larry's cousin Andy yet?
No.
Okay, you're getting there soon, I think. Larry has a cousin Andy in the show. As it progresses, he's involved more and more. He's becomes more of one of the main cast. So at one point, they're talking what to eat. Andy lives in New York. He's visiting Larry in L.A. And Larry says, Chinese food. And then he goes, no, I can't. You can't get Chinese food in L.A. And LD is like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? It's like, no, Chinese food's only if you're not in New York, you can't get it anywhere. It's New York or nowhere. And then Larry's like saying to him, like, what do you mean? You think all the good Chinese chefs moved to New York? Not one of them's anywhere else. But yeah,
Oh God,
it
that's
reminds
great.
you like that New York
Yeah.
elitist. Like people say that about like pizza and bagels and stuff. Like, oh, it's a New York water. So ridiculous. My parents said that.
So
My
great.
dad used to say that. Like, grew up in Brooklyn, thinks like the
everyone
water.
says that around here. Yeah, everyone says that. It's so
Such
silly.
nonsense.
It's so silly.
The water.
The water.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
All right, so Ryan.
So I hope that answers your question, Ryan. It's the juxtaposition of cocky Yankees 27 rings versus not that. Whatever the opposite of that is, how Philadelphia looks at their teams. I think both fan bases are, really passionate, but I just think and again, it's I know you hate this, Andrew, but it's the big four who I have the big problem with. Like, you don't see, as much as I hate the Mets, you don't see Mets fans prancing around saying, this is New York. I
have an answer to that, though. There's a real answer to that. You know why you don't see that? Because you know how last episode I said you have like a little brother complex with New York? Mets fans, this is the thing. The Mets and Jets fans, obviously not all fans, no, I'm not including this, but they have like this like little brother, like they feel like the little brother to the Yankees or the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel like a little insecure about it as a fan. It's such a ridiculous thing to even say. But that's the thing that goes on.
Sure.
So I think it's true with the Islanders to the Rangers. So that's why you don't hear it, because they don't have that. You might call it arrogance, but they root for the team that is less popular and has been less successful.
Yeah.
So that changes how you feel as a fan.
Of course, but be that as it may, like, it doesn't make the arrogance is a perfect word for it. It doesn't make the arrogance of the big four fans any less annoying.
I mean, what are Nets fans gonna say? This is BK. This is Brooklyn.
Yeah, right. But this is the Garden. Like, I don't fucking care.
Dude, that narrative though, that is pushed outside of New York. That is pushed by NBA players. That is pushed by the media, national media.
I'm not saying the Garden specifically. I'm just saying this is like, here's the thing. This is New York. Is like this is the Garden. It's like, okay. So when you were winning 25 games for 5 years in a row, like, was it still the Garden then? Was it still New York? Or like,
do you really believe that Knicks fans are fall into that like Yankee fan where they're like boasting about stuff? Like, I feel like Knicks fans don't
serious?
do that. Yeah, I'm serious. I don't know a single Knicks fan that does that.
Yeah.
What do they say?
they're coming.
What? No, but oh well, if they have success, it will happen. Yeah, but
Do you
they
see
haven't.
these videos outside of Madison Square Garden of people
yes, yes,
jiggling
but
their
that's
bodies and chanting
you're mi-
"fuck Trey Young" 3
you're
years
misunderstanding. You're
later?
You're misunderstanding that though. You're taking that as them
We
being
want
arrogant and
Boston.
boasting. That's not what that is. You're misinterpreting what that is. That is long-suffering, desperate fans that finally have something to be happy about, and that's how they show their happiness. And they don't literally mean what they're saying. You can't take any sports fan in the moment, an emotional moment, seriously. You know this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The whole after one game in the playoffs they win and then everybody's going crazy and they're I know it's ridiculous, but that's not. I think you're misinterpreting that as being like arrogant towards other teams and other sports fans, but really it's just them losing their minds, so taken aback and surprised that they actually have a good team to root for now, like just excited.
I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. But they'll be back. They'll trust me. This year they're gonna have a lot of success, and
Look, hopefully they have a 4 or 5 year run, and then the Knicks fans can do that. I hope so. I won't do it, but I hope that Knicks fans can do that.
You should do it.
Can you imagine? What would I be like? It kind of reminds me. It would be like if I was like in that crowd. It kind of reminds me of back at Power. So Sistad and I used to work together at a company called Power Home Remodeling, and it was like a frat sales department. Like it was just like the mindset was like a frat. You would agree with that? It was like a fraternity.
It was Wolf of Wall Street.
It was Wolf of Wall Street with people that were
With
making
young-
30,000.
Yeah, it was Wolf of Wall Street with dumb kids who just graduated college who don't.
Yes. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think Wolf of Wall Street with young kids making like 30 to 50,000. So we would have these meetings, these sales meetings, and the sales director, whatever they call them, marketing director, he would get up and he would do this all rah stuff, and I would sarcastically, and I said, "You love this" when I did.
God, this is
I
so
would be
good.
like, yeah, just like so sarcastic, just mocking them. So, it'd be like that.
God, that was so funny. Yeah, that was
It would
so
be like
fucking
that.
funny.
I would be out there with I'd be like, yeah, fuck Boston, yeah. Just completely mocking them for being so stupid. Like Boston's gonna sweep us. Come on.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would be great.
All right. So anything else to get to around sports that we missed?
I don't think so, man. Looking forward to October here.
All right. So we got
busy month.
Phillies they're tied 1-1. They have a game 3 coming up on Tuesday. Yankees are up 1-0, a game coming up on Monday. We have the Jets play Monday night next week. Looking to bounce back against the Bills. And the Eagles, what are they playing next week again?
They're home to the Browns.
That's right. Home to the Browns, 9-point favorites.
9.5 point favorites.
9.5. 9.5.
Who is betting Eagles spread in the world right now? Seriously.
I wouldn't take 9.5. That's a lot.
They haven't won a game by more than one possession in probably 20 games. All of their wins last year were one possession, very much.
So
yeah,
everybody
they don't blow anybody out.
Don't take the Eagles minus 9.5. Don't do it.
In fact,
maybe Browns plus 9.5. Maybe buy a point plus 10.5.
I think so.
Yeah.
They haven't blown anybody out in, again, a very long time. So
NHL season starts this week. Flyers on Friday, Rangers on Wednesday. So we will continue to have a lot of stuff to talk about. Phillies, Mets, Yankees, Royals. Hopefully both teams in the one of the Mets and Phillies will be in the NLCS, and hopefully the Yankees will be in the ALCS. So we'll talk about that next week as well. Thanks for listening. Give us a like, subscribe, comment below. We'll see you next time.
Philly pride and Sistad soul, Andrew rapping NY Bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams, right behind the scenes. It seems Philly versus NY, hear the call. Who's the greatest? Who will fall with this rivalry? Now we're clear, join the chat. sports and culture all in